Welcome back to Art at Mount Baldy School. This year we're going to make a sketchbook, and I'm going to have some prompts for you, some ideas of things to draw. If you want to add things, these open so you can add more papers to it. This is the cover, the thick part, and then I put some colored papers at the back. You can either draw on these, you can use them as dividers or whatever, and then I'll have some special papers maybe during the year to add to that. Now sketchbooks, I pulled out a couple of my sketchbooks. I take them everywhere. Here's Notre Dame in Paris. I was backpacking with this. There's a little white pine, high altitude. Here's the Mission Arches from something else. There's fencing matches, basketball players, sailing boats, surfers, all kinds of things. So, and we're going to use the elements that we've talked about. Line. So you're going to have different kinds of lines, and you know, as you press down on your pencil, you get a darker, thicker line. You think about the shapes that you're doing. You might add shading to make it look 3D, to add form, and patterning, and that's helpful for making texture so it looks like something. Before I talk about the sketchbook itself, I want to talk to you a little bit about pencils and erasers. Pencils come in different weights. This is an HB, so it's H is kind of hard, and so it's for little details, maybe like fur on an animal or something. The pencil that you write with, and this is a B, which would be a kind of an in-between. It's a little darker. This is a 2B. Artists call it a 2B, but 2B is really what you write with as well. So it's still a little darker, a little thicker. Then if you get to a 4B or a 6B, it's quite soft, quite dark, and it smears. So you probably, for the sketchbook, want to stick to the 2B. Artist erasers are different than the little pink ones. When we're in class together, we use the magic rub, which makes a nice clean erasure, but it also makes a dirty floor because you have little crumbs from it all the time. This is a kneaded eraser, KN, and this is what artists use. When you want to clean it, it's sort of like silly putty. You just pull it apart, and it erases cleanly. There's no crumbs. And the other thing that you can do with it, if you have the heavy line and you just press on it, you can lighten it a little bit to pick that up. So those are pencils and erasers. You're going to need a cover on the back of your sketchbook. I used a cereal box. And you can just cut out the two pieces. I would put the holes in before you glue it together. And you can trace around one of these. If you use the glue, you want to make sure that it gets to all the places. Come out, glue. There we go. So if you squeeze some out, well, use the other one. If you squeeze some out and you want to get it to all the edges, then spread it around so it's not too thick any one place. And before you put your fingers in the glue, you want to make sure that you have something at hand to wipe it off with. Then you'll line up the holes that you put in there, line up the edges, and then you probably want to put it under a heavy book to press it down, but don't put the book right on top of it, because if any glue squeezes out, you don't want it glued to the book. So put a piece of paper or wax paper or something like that there. If you don't have a hole punch, you can use the edge of the scissors to drill your hole like that. So that's how you're going to put your sketchbook together. But the cover, I want you probably start with pencil, but I want you to finish with pen. This says sketchbook. So it's the word themselves that you're going to make a design out of. It doesn't really even have to be legible. This one is more legible, and I put different patterns inside. And some of you may remember from last year how we do this. This is 1-point perspective, so that if you want to make it like a superhero thing, you line up the ruler or straight edge with the edges of the letters. Let's see a little bit of this bottom B. And you'd go all the way around. So you don't have to use any of these ideas, but you have to use the word sketchbook and make it a design for the whole cover. And I'm also going to be giving you a portfolio assignment, and I think there's a lot of work to do this September, so it's going to be those 2 assignments for September.